No.
Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Welcome to Śrī Radha Bihari Mandir.
Jai, there's like so much room above your head. What do I do?
Because you tilted it too far forward. Excuse me, I'm going to get up. Welcome to Śrī Radha Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Let's see. Now it's even more. 1 second. Going down.
Oh, well, you could have told me to do that. Okay, sorry.
There we go. I only saw one name pop up. That is Bhanumati. When I was fixing it, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, all Vaishnavas, Dandavat Pranam.
So we are gearing up for tomorrow. And I use the word gearing intentionally because we are going to Giriraj Maharaj. So, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. We're going to be doing our Govardhan Parikrama. Last time we went to one particular location for Anakut Mahamahotsava. And then the next time I went, it was Gopashtami, but I was busily engaged with my hands, so I couldn't film at the same time. But this time, we will be able to take you. We are going to take you with us to so many beautiful locations, and remember the Harikatha that our Gurudev and our Vaishnava Acharyas would share with us when we go to all of these locations. So we're very excited for tomorrow. It's also for us the first day of Bhishma Panchak, which is technically the first day of the last 5 days of Kartik. So
we're going to be bringing everyone to really extraordinary places tomorrow. Some very secret, beautiful places.
So once again, welcome to Śrī Radha Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupananda Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. No. Sorry. Shri Radha Ramana Ju ki jai.
So we'll begin with Mangalacharna, which Jiva Pavana Prabhu Dandavat Pranam has already posted for everybody to have easy access to all of the bhajans and kirtans. He's here every day posting for all of us. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Vandeham Shri Guru Śrī Dāmodara Śrī Gurum Vaishnavamshta Śrī Rūpam Sagrajatam Sahavano Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam Sasavetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Śrī Radha Krishna Padan Sahavana Lalita Śrī Vishakhanvitamshta Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audanya Madhurya Gunashtrayuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Nārāyaṇam Tvam Shirashan Namami Śrī Nārāyaṇam tvam satatam prapadye. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paścātya Deshakarine. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyāna Keshavayati Namine. Patimartya Charitraya Svashritanam Chapaline Jivadukhe Sadartaya Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine. Śrī Vaishnavāni Devi Daitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vidyana Daine Brahmane Namaha. Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Śrī Rupanuga Bhaktivedānta Śrī Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Namaste Gauravani Śrī Murtaye Dinaparine Rupanuga Viruddhama Siddhanta Dvantaharine. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagyamurtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha. No Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. Gaura Virbhava Bhume Swam Nirdishta Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jaganathaya Te Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratmishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantam Radha Kantam Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandam Matergati Matsarvasvattanam Vajo Radha Madana Mohano. Divyagrindaranya-kalpadumadam Śrīmad-Granthanāra-Sindhāsanasva Śrī Śrī Radha Śrīla Govindadevo Preshnādibhī sevyamāno smarāmi. Śrīmad-Rasarasaramdhi Vanshivata-tatasthitah Karshante Gopir Gopinath Shri Sunah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsavi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Chaitro Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādāvagni-nirvāpanam Shri Advairava Chandrika Vikarnam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Purivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritaswadanam Sarvatma Saparam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Rameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gati Anyatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Jai Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru. Page 29.
Your back. Did it hurt?
No, I'm holding my back muscles tightly. Jaya Jaya Shri Guru Prema Kalpataru. Jaya Jaya Adbhuta Jako Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki
Jai. Devaki Didi, yes, they're wearing chadars because even though outside it's not that cold until the nighttime, it's still very nice out. You just need a slight sweater. Inside there's no insulation and it's all stone and marble.
And cement and brick.
So it's very cold inside. If you want to get warm, you have to go outside.
In the summer, the walls trap the heat. And in the winter, the walls trap the cold. So yeah, they haven't discovered insulation yet.
At least
insulation.
Not here.
Or underfloor heating.
At least not here. But anyway, so yeah, they're wearing chadars because it's cold inside, but outside is actually very pleasant until late in the evening it gets cold.
If you read Jiva Goswami's Ananda Vrindavan Champu, there he speaks about proper drainage, like with pipes made of bamboo going under the floors and everything.
That's
was it Kavi Karnapur?
No.
Baladev
Yes, Baladev Vidyabhushan.
Baladev Vidyabhushan.
Yes.
What was that?
I don't remember what it's called, but he's talking about Vrindavan and he maps everything out and he talks about the underground plumbing and everything. It's really incredible.
In other words, they were more advanced back then than they are now.
So
Next. Vishaya Vashana Rupa Chitera Vikar, page 48 in this book, Śrī Giti Gucha. If you don't have the book, then you do have Jiva Pavana Prabhu, who posts the bhajan in the comments section of the thread. So just scroll to Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and there you will find the bhajan along with translation, followed by nectar.
She prano
Gosvāmī Pār ki
Jai.
jai, Śrī Sat Gosvāmī Prabhu ki jai, Sab Vaishnav Gosai ki jai.
Nitai Gaur or just Nitai?
Just Nitai.
Which one? Or you have to give them time to search it.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Page 60 in the songbook, or page Jiva Pavana Prabhu.
So it starts with Akrodha, Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakto Vrinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Abhimanu Shunyanitai Nagare Mera Adhamakatita Jive Bhare Bhare Giya Hari Namo Mahamantro Dikshena Vilaya Jare dekhe tare kohe Dante Krina Dhori Amare ki niyalo ho Guru Hari
Hari
Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. How beautiful is that? Nityananda Prabhu is holding a straw in his teeth, pleading, saying basically in essence that I am coming to you in such a deep state of humility, feeling myself lower than any grass-eating animal. And he's calling out to whomever he sees, just call the name of my Gaura Hari once. Call out his name and you can purchase me. How beautiful is that? It is said that there is some conception of making aparad while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra or while chanting the names of Krishna. But in terms of chanting the name Nitai Gauranga, these names, there is no conception of making aparad. And they are also capable of granting one prem. So once upon a time, I asked Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, the question, if you could attain prem by chanting Nitai Gauranga, and there's so many conceptions or possibilities of making aparad to Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right, Nam Aparad, it's so easy for us to do that, then why don't we just chant Nitai Gauranga? Why are we also chanting Hare Krishna? And he leaned forward and he looked at me, eyebrows furled, and he said, because Mahaprabhu wants you to. And I thought, good enough. Because when you're calling out to Nitai and Gaur, actually, Nityananda Prabhu gives you the mercy of Mahaprabhu. But what does Mahaprabhu want to give you? He wants us to take shelter of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He didn't tell Raghunath Das Goswami, just worship me. He said, Braje Radha Krishna Manasa Seva Koribe. Within your mind, within your heart, you should always worship Radha and Krishna in Braj. So this is the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when you're calling out for mercy, please give me your mercy. Then how will their mercy come? They will tell us to take shelter of Krishna. And in that case, we will have to also become free from aparad. So Mahaprabhu orders, Nir aparad naam loilo pai premadhan. You should chant the holy name of the Lord, serve the holy name of the Lord without offense. Niraparad means without any offense. Always take shelter of the holy names of the Lord, and by this you will attain prema. So this is how the names of Nitai Gauranga are capable of giving us prema, because they give us ultimately into the service of Shri Shri, Radha and Krishna. Sanskrit. Vande Vishwamhara Padak Kamalam. And I don't know what page it is. I found it.
What page?
Page 339.
To speak something about Bhishma Panchak, but I think we were going to speak on that tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow also happens to be the anniversary of the disappearance of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the Guru of Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and another holy day.
Ekadashi.
Is it Ekadashi tomorrow?
Yes.
Jai.
Also, we don't follow from Ekadashi to Ekadashi. We follow from Purnima to Purnima. So tomorrow may be some different mats and some different groups. It may be their last day of Kartik tomorrow, so we don't know what it's going to be like out there. But it's another adventure, and we are planning on speaking this subject tomorrow.
I do recall in previous years going to Govardhan.
On the last day.
I don't know, it was sometime, maybe the last 5 days. I don't exactly know. I know there's going to be thousands, millions of people doing parikrama here, but I'm not sure about Govardhan. But it is one of the most beautiful sights, seeing millions of faithful persons doing parikrama, no shoes, and with faith, circumambulating Govardhan. It's overwhelming to witness it. And so we may have the opportunity to show you that tomorrow.
And also, like we said, if we miss something, which we're going to be missing lots of things, we're not ending our pilgrimage at the end of Kartik. We decided that we'll still go out to so many different places and take you to, different places in the Holy Dham and discuss and remember Srila Gurudev and our Guru Varg together. We don't always have to just be in the room. So we won't end when Kartik ends.
Shri Satyavrata Gaur Hari Ki Jai. Monday.
The 26th is Kartik, is Ekadashi. Sorry, that was me then, I was wrong.
It depends on where we are. But if you have the Vrindavan calendar, and the one that has been done by Amal Krishna Prabhu, because that is the one that our Srila Gurudev authorized for Vrindavan, which is specific for Vrindavan. He really wanted a Braj calendar for Vrindavan, and they follow very particular Surya Siddhanta Panjika that Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Prabhupada gave. So Amal Krishna Prabhu has produced that calendar, and he's very, very diligent with it. So we'll just double check and see. Vande Vishwam Varapada Kamalam. Deva Bhavantam Vande, page 343, followed by Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite, page 341. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande,
Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande,
He Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande,
Krishna Deva Bhavantam
Manam Manasa Madhukaram Narpayo Nijapadam Pankajam Akarande,
Manasa Madhukaram Narpayo Nijapadam
Nandini Shrimati Radharani ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Now we will sing Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, then Radha Kripakatakshastavaraja, then Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. So page 289, then 285, then 290, or as Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts, and the Mangalata Devi posts the page number. So thank you. Dandavat Pranam. Sucharu Bhaktramandalam Sukarnaratna Kundalam Sucharjitam Vatandalam Namami Nandanandam Sudirghanetra Pankajam Shikishikam Namami sundaram lakhaduti sudhakaram amulya rathabhushanam namami nandanandaram sugandhayam dasorabha mulo virajito shubham surachivatsalancanam namami nandanandaram vrindavanam sunadaram vilasadugamasasam surendra-garbhamochanam namami nandanandaram Braj-Mandal-Parikrama sada sukha-pradayakam Pravannana-pradobharam namami nandanandaram Śrī-Dāmodarāṣṭakam Patebhya śraddhayandita Pare-bhava-binduṣṭaram Yame-tadam namami nandanandaram namami nandanandaram namami nandanandaram namami nandanandaram namami nandanandaram namami nandanandaram. Page 285 for Munindra Vrinda Vandite. Munindra Vrinda Vandite Tirokashokaharini Prasanna Bhakta Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasi Rajendra Bharunandini Rajendra Sunu Sangate Padakarishasi Hamam Kripakatakshabhadam Ashoka Vrikshavallari Vitanamantapasite Pravalla-valla-pallava Prabharunangrikomane Parabhayam Suratare Prabhuta Sampadalaye Kadakarishasi Hamam Kripakatakshabhadam Anandarangramangala Prasangabhangura-bhuvam Savibhramam Sasambramam Digantamanapatame Nirantaram Vashikrita Pradipinam Vandane Kala Nikmanati Gaurari Vilola Hema Vallari Vidam Vicharu Chankrame Tadakari Shasihama Ipakataksha Bhajan Ananta Koti Vishuyoga Namra Padmajarchite Imadrija Puromaja Virinja Javarakari Apara Siddhi Divija Sataram Guri Rakhe Tadakari Shasihama Kripakataksha Bhajan Maheshwari Kriyeshwari Sadeshwari Sureshwari Tireta Bharatishwari Pramana Shasuneshwari Rameshwari Shameshwari Pramodakamuneshwari Rajeshwari Rajadite Śrī Radhike Namostute Nityam Adbhutam Savam Nishamya Bharunandini Karotu Santatam Janam Kripakataksha Bhajan Bhavetadaiva Sanchita Tribhutakaramanashanam Bhavetadavahindasunam Mangala Pradeshanam Malakarisha Srihama Kripakataksha Bhajanam. Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, page 290.
And I think it's the old tune.
Harmony.
After opera. Oh, I need a lighter. Sorry.
Yashoda Damodar ki
Jai.
jai. Radharman ki jai. Shri Radha Mira Bihari Ju Shashinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj Shalagram ki jai. Laddu Gopal ki jai. And little Laddu Gopal ki jai.
Okay. And Devaki is confirming, yes, it is the old tune.
Okay. Param Krishnam Kārtika
Hare Welcome. Just remind everybody who's here about tomorrow really quick, so in case they don't see the post.
Just so I don't forget, before I'm supposed to remember, tomorrow we will be going to Govardhan with all of you, starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Vrindavan time. If you check the post on Sudevi's page, Facebook page, we've even put times for different places around the world. We've even included Shanghai, Alachua, New York, Los Angeles, London, Brisbane. So many different locations are there. Salzburg. So you can see what time we begin. We're going to be going on Govardhan Parikrama with all of you. So 3 o'clock, that's 2 hours earlier than our normal time that we start bhajans. So you're all welcome, and you're welcome to bring your friends with you, and we are going to drag you all through the dust with us. The dust of Giriraj.
I will be saying everyone's name. It's Surabhi Kund.
Do you think we'll make it that far?
We have to make it that far.
Okay, so our goal tomorrow is to make it at least as far as Surabhi Kund, which is around the
bend.
Tail. Puchari Kalota, you come around the bend, and Surabhi Kund is there. Very, very powerful place. We'll talk about it when we're there.
Also, before Kishori Mohan Prabhu begins, I've been thinking a lot about something, and I just wanted to share it really quickly. And that is that last night, I don't know if all of you were with us, but we went to Srila Gurudev's room in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat. And when we were there, Sudevi Didi came in and she spoke. And it was really beautiful because we said, will you say something? Will you speak something? And she said, about my Gurudev, my Gurudev. And we said, yes. And immediately you saw how she was so ready at the drop of a hat to glorify her Gurudev and her Guru Varg. And today I was thinking about it and thinking that this is a disciple, how we should be ready to stand up at any time in any place to glorify our Gurudevs. It's part of being a disciple. She didn't, say, oh, no, I can't, or I shouldn't, or I should go. Immediately, as soon as she had an opportunity, you saw she had life. Before she was a little bit subdued, but then she started talking about her Gurudev, our Gurudev.
When you say Savita's subdued, that's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like what is inside the fireworks,
But it was so beautiful, and I've been thinking about that a lot, about how when somebody asks us a question about bhakti, about Krishna, about especially our gurus, how we should be able to jump at the opportunity and just begin without any thought, without any kind of, I wonder what I could say, or immediately she just spontaneously began glorifying. And so today I just wanted to offer respects to that mood and pray that I can have that kind of mood to glorify Gurudev at any time. Not just Gurudev, but our entire Guru Varg. Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada, our Param Gurudev, everyone to be able to just, the moment someone asks, this is my Guru Varg, this is my person. And she had so much mamata. He's my Gurudev.
And someone asked also yesterday, because she was speaking Braj Bhasha, which is the dialect of Vrindavan. It's like Hindi, but it's different. Also quite different. And you were asking how we were able to translate, and I can't tell you that exactly. just by being around Srila Gurudev and hearing his Harikatha, because we can't translate the street Hindi so much, or the street discussion. Well, we can a little bit, and that's not, but it's just like normal speaking. But when it comes to the Harikatha of Gurudev in Hindi, because we were familiar with his Harikatha and how it was translated in English, then we would recognize certain patterns within it. And when she was speaking Braj Bhasha, she was speaking such a beautiful pastime of Radha and Krishna, how Krishna dressed up as a Bengal salesperson and came in front of Srimati Radhika. And you could see part of what you couldn't see on the video was Savita's very expressive nature. So when her eyes were opening, but you couldn't see at that moment, her hands were shaking. And she was talking about
you could see something.
So she was speaking about how when Krishna was putting the bangles on her wrists, he began to tremble, and even some perspiration. He was so nervous, but immediately she knew it was him. So certain aspects, really it was about the mood, and we were able to recognize the pastime and also the moods and the expressions. So by the mercy of Gurudev, by the mercy of Vaishnavas, then one will gradually begin to understand a little bit. One thing that she said, which was quite telling, Srila Gurudev didn't distinguish between Western and Indian or this or that or outsiders. He just brought Braj mood to everyone. He injected it into our hearts, awakened that greed in all of our hearts. And then he brought us to Vrindavan and made us familiar with Vrindavan, gave us relationship to all of the places and the pastimes and everything, where, you come here and it's like, I'm home. And nowhere else feels like home. It feels dry and empty. And you come to Braj and it's just teeming with life. And not just the street life that you see, because that's quite lively as well. But like when we were in Varshana, I was overcome by it was just this breeze that was blowing, and being there, it was like every particle of everything was surcharged with bliss. And I can't explain it any other way. So it's alive, and it's alive with something which is much deeper. And that is the moods of the Brajavasis, the moods of love and affection that they have for Krishna, the moods of reciprocation that Krishna has for them, and the moods of all of the pure devotees who come to this place and feel those transcendental moods of love and affection, and also make that active endeavor to reveal that or manifest or awaken that within our hearts. So according to their mercy, starting very small, some banda relationship begins to awaken. And one day we will also have to take birth in Vrindavan from the womb of a gopi.
Varshana.
Yes. Vrishabhanupure Janama Loigo. And we will have to be married in Javad. So we'll talk about that another time. In Javate Vivahahobe. But we will take birth in Varshana. And we will grow up with all of those personalities who are serving Shri Radha and Krishna. So that will be our final or last birth within this world. Our Gurudev tells it, our Acharyas tell it, Srila Prabhupada himself writes it. That will be the final and last birth, and that won't be considered a material birth, because that will be naturalization into Krishna's pastimes.
Naturalization.
Well, you grow up, you know the food, you know the language, the clothing, the culture, and everything, and it will be completely natural and spontaneous. So we look forward to that day. When, oh when, will that day be ours?
Kobe hobe.
Kobe habe. So, Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedānta Swamine Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum nangayate giring yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami, Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
So we will be continuing with Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam.
Were you going to say going beyond Vaikuntha?
No.
Oh, that's what I heard in my head.
Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Such a beautiful treasure of nectar. This is the heart's revelation of Śrī Satyavrata Muni, Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, which actually our Gurudev and our Acharyas have mentioned that it manifested over thousands or even millions of years through his subjective evolution of consciousness, his own personal spiritual evolution, how he was moving forward in his realizations, going from dasya, servant mood, to vatsalya, and then to madhurya, finally ending in namo radhikaya tvadiya priyaya namo anantalilaya devaya tubhyam, praying to Srimati Radhika, wanting to see those transcendental pastimes. So this is the heart's manifestation of Śrī Satyavrata Muni. It has been written down in Śrī Padma Purana by Veda Vyas, and there's a beautiful commentary in Sanskrit by Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad, who is the leader of the six Goswamis, the Shiksha Guru of Śrīla Rupa Goswami, very near and dear associate of Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then there's a commentary on Sanatana Goswami's commentary by our Param Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. And then there's a commentary on his commentary, or on their commentaries, by our Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. So it is very beautiful, very deep, very sweet, and very full of rasa. So before entering into this beautiful treasure and investigating the gems that are within, we will pray in the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami to all of those personalities I just mentioned. Vairāga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnai Papayanan Maman Vikshamandam Kripambudiryaparadukduki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods which are present within these pages manifest itself within our hearts. And we're still in our Srila Gurudev's commentary of verse 1. And we're still discussing the best definition of bhakti. So before beginning reading or continuing reading, we will first sing the first verse of Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Namami Sharam Sachidanandarupam La Satkundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodabhiyolukha Ladhavamanam Paramrishtamatyantato Gopya Namami Shwaram Sachidanandarupam La Satkundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So now we are continuing with the best definition of bhakti given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:1:11. And before we begin speaking about it, I would like if you would all slowly chant it with me. So, Jiva Pavan Prabhu, if you can post that Anyabhilashita Shunyam so that everyone can see it, and then we can all chant it together. Srila Gurudev wanted all of his disciples to know this verse. And if you read through Srila Prabhupada's books and you see his purports, you will see this verse again and again and again and again, repeatedly throughout thousands of his purports, only translated into English. So it is essential that we understand or have some familiarity with this verse. So I'm just waiting for the verse to show up, and then together we can Is it there? Hare Krishna. I'm waiting. It says Jiva Pavan Prabhu is watching. Oh, he just got on. Can you please post?
No, he has to refresh. Just give him a minute.
Okay.
He's checking it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, I don't know if you can see the diacritics properly or not, but we can all chant it together now. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktirutama. Okay. So yesterday, Srila Gurudev was speaking about this word anukul, anukulyena, which means favorable. And this is a very strong identifier or qualifier in terms of the definition of pure bhakti. Notice the words bhaktir uttama. Uttama means the topmost or the highest. So there's many different kinds of bhakti, you can say. Mixed bhakti, mixed with desire for impersonal liberation, or mixed with desire for material sense gratification, mixed with so many other kinds of desires. Those cannot be considered pure bhakti. Pure bhakti is anya abhilashita shunyam. Shunyam means devoid of or without, and anya means any other, and abhilash means desire, and so forth, itta. So it is devoid of any other desire other than what is exclusively for Krishna, what is favorable to him, what is for his pleasure, his happiness, and then especially his benefit. So this can be called pure bhakti. Otherwise, it won't be considered pure bhakti. But our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, made those two words, pure bhakti, the call of his mission, that he has come to give pure bhakti, to awaken pure bhakti in all. So this was really his focus, that he didn't want us to waste our time with all kinds of other things. Don't have any other desire, don't have any other motivation. You should only have exclusive one-pointed devotion and one-pointed goal. And he would always use this term, pure bhakti. And Srila Prabhupada used the term unalloyed devotional service. So unalloyed, alloyed means a mixture of metals or mixture of something. So unalloyed means completely unmixed, and devotional service means service or seva with devotion. And that's another way of saying pure bhakti or bhaktir uttama. So certain exalted, realized personalities have stated that anukulyena means the tendency to perform activities that bring pleasure to Sri Krishna, and that the inclination to please him with a favorable disposition is bhakti. However, If this latter definition is accepted, one of two faults may arise. Some things are encompassed by this definition which should not be included within a description of bhakti. This is called ativyapti dosh, the fault of overextending the definition. So it's getting a little technical here, but there are possibilities of overextension of definitions and or underextensions of definitions. So it is necessary to really refine the understanding of pure bhakti. Ati vyapti dosha, the fault of overextending or overextension of the definition. Similarly, it excludes things that should be included within the description. This is called avyapti dosha, or the fault of underextending the definition. So Gurudev is giving the same examples that we discussed yesterday. And of course he is, because I learned them from him. And these are the examples he gave. And he wanted, whenever he would ask anyone to speak about pure bhakti, he wanted that we would all give these examples. So, for example, in the wrestling match, Chanura, Mushtika, and other demons were striking Sri Krishna's limbs. Sri Krishna was certainly enlivened by their attack and began to relish the mood of being a great hero. This is vir ras, the taste or relishing that mood of vir. Vir means hero or fighter. How can the attacks of the demons be understood as pleasurable for Sri Krishna? The answer to this is found in part of a verse from Śrīmad Bhagavatam 1:13-30. Manasvinam iva sat samprahara. Although in the eyes of ordinary people a terrifying battle with an enemy seems tortuous, it is in fact exhilarating for the fighters. When fighters, I think there's some kind of fighting shows that go on that they're fighting, they're not aware of what's going on outside. They're completely absorbed in fighting with each other, like Bhima and Jarasandha fighting, or Bhima and Duryodhana. They don't really even notice when they get hit with a club or when blood is coming. It only enrages them more, and they begin fighting more valiantly. And this creates a kind of excitement in them. And those who are watching also get excited as well. And if people are cheering them on, it even makes them more excited. Even if they're hurt, even if they're damaged or bloodied, still so much excitement comes that they will keep fighting. And so this is also manifest in this world. A terrifying battle from outside, so many people will be like, oh my God, ooh, ooh, like this. But inside they're like, wow, completely focused. And it is in fact exhilarating for the fighters. In that case, if we conclude that the demons' horrible attacks during the wrestling match were acts of bhakti because they gave pleasure to Krishna, then the fault of overextension of the definition arises. So we discussed this yesterday. They are giving pleasure to Krishna because he relishes vir ras, the ras of a fighter. Therefore, it's pleasing to Krishna, but remember, it's about the intention of the person approaching Krishna. Was it favorable to Krishna? Was it really to give him pleasure? No. They wanted to kill him. And in the process, Krishna was relishing so much this fighting spirit, but their mood was unfavorable. It was not anukul. It was the opposite. It was pratikul, opposite of favorable, which means unfavorable to Krishna. Therefore, it cannot be considered bhakti, even though Krishna was experiencing pleasure, because bhakti is not dependent upon what Krishna is experiencing. Rather, it is dependent upon the mood of the person approaching Krishna. So if a demon is giving him pleasure by fighting in anger toward him, this is not considered bhakti. Whereas a devotee might do something which actually upsets him, but their intention is to serve and please him, like Mother Yashoda, because of her pure love and affection for him, then what she is doing is considered pure bhakti. So to call what they are doing as bhakti, this is an overextension of the definition. If you're not using the word anukul or favorable, and you're just saying what gives pleasure to Krishna, then this would create the fault of the overextension. Even though these malevolent endeavors cause Krishna to feel pleasure, which is apparently the quality of bhakti, they were actually strictly opposed to bhakti. Conversely, consider the example of Mother Yashoda, breastfeeding Sri Krishna as he lay on her lap. At the same time, the milk she had kept on the stove was boiling over into the fire. After taking Krishna, who was not yet satisfied, off of her lap, she went to save the milk. This caused him to experience much displeasure. So, just consider that. She stopped him from drinking, which he wanted to do. He wanted to be with her and he wanted to drink. She went to save the milk, so she had to put Krishna down. This made him very upset. But because her intention was, one, to save that devotee, the milk, who was desperate, feeling that I will never be able to serve Krishna. So she wanted to engage those devotees in service of Krishna. Not only that, but she also knew that through that, she could make so many wonderful preparations for Krishna, which would be more pleasing to him in the long run. So her mood was only how to serve him and how to please him. So in order to do that, she had to give him some temporary discomfort, but because her intention was only how to please him and serve him, this is called pure bhakti. So Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10.9.6 states, Sanjata kopa spuratarunadharam. His tiny reddish lips began quivering from anger. Can you imagine? Very small little 2.5-year-old Krishna. His mother puts him down and his lips are quivering with anger. How beautiful, how sweet he must have looked at that time. Mother Yashoda's action greatly displeased him. But if we conclude that her endeavor does not come within the definition of bhakti, then the fault of avyakti, or underextension of the definition of bhakti, arises. The nature of exalted devotees, Mahabhagavats, is that they want to engage every soul in Krishna's service. We are so fortunate that that is their nature. In the pranam mantra of our Param Gurudev, it says, Jiva duke sadartaya Śrī Nama premadayane. Seeing the suffering, pitiful condition of the jivas of this world, he wants to give the best and greatest, highest treasure to the jivas, and that is praying for Sri Harinam. In the prayer that we just said before we began, Vairāga Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnar Apayanan Mam Anubhikshamannam Kripambarirya Paraduka Dukhi. Paraduka Dukhi. What does that mean? They experience great suffering upon seeing the suffering of the jivas of this world. That's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he spoke that every selfless welfare worker of Gaudiya Math should be willing and ready to expend a minimum of 200 gallons of their own blood for the spiritual upliftment or benefit of every single jiva of this world. How much dedication is that? That means so much intense, hard labor to try to somehow bring someone's mind toward Krishna. That's why he said the greatest violence to the jiva, it's not hurting them, it's not killing them, and that is it's related to the body. The greatest violence to the jiva is of two kinds. It is called jiva hingsa, violence to a jiva. It's of two kinds. One, actively encouraging someone to engage their mind, their body, their words, their energy in mundane thoughts, processes, activities, pursuits. Means taking someone's mind away from Guru, Gauranga, Radha and Krishna and actively encouraging someone to be bound in Maya. This is violence to a jiva. And the other kind of violence, it's a little bit more subtle, but almost or just as dangerous. It's kind of like two sides of the same tidal wave. Both of them are dangerous. When a tsunami comes in, it's dangerous, and when it mixes everything and pulls back out, it's also dangerous. And what's that one? Having received all of the divine knowledge that we've received, knowledge about Krishna, knowledge about Srimati Radhika, the Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Gurudev and Vaishnavas, the process of bhakti. Having received all of this and not sharing it. This is also violence because we have the cure for all diseases. Everything. Everything. We have the cure for all of it. And if we are holding that, then who is the miser? That is the most miserly thing that one can do. They're dying, they're suffering, and their life is going in vain, and they're just moving through samsara practically uselessly. And we can just give them Krishna. So Mahaprabhu says the greatest welfare work, para upakar, the greatest kind of welfare work is to somehow or other give Krishna to anyone. These are the teachings of our Guru Varga. So we're so fortunate that those personalities, our Rupanuga Guru Varga, are coming into this world, and they are the embodiments of the condensed compassion and mercy of Krishna. It means they cannot rest. They cannot be comfortable ever, because the jivas of this world are suffering and cycling through the endless repetition of birth, disease, old age, and death. So they're so anxious constantly. And that is our great hope, that those personalities are anxious to remove us from this desperate situation. So here, Srila Gurudev is saying the nature of exalted devotees or Mahabhagavats is that they want to engage every soul in Krishna's service. When Mother Yashoda saw that the milk was sacrificing himself into the fire by boiling over, because he was bereft of Krishna's service, she immediately removed her darling boy from her lap and tried to save it. So we see that something took precedence over Krishna himself, and that was service to Krishna and the necessity of any devotee to serve Krishna. That took precedence for Mother Yashoda over Krishna himself at that moment. With both of his hands, baby Krishna firmly caught hold of his mother's breast, and with his legs he clung to her waist. So, little baby Krishna is holding like this and with his legs as well, and he does not want to let go. And I just lost my page. With his legs, he clung to her waist. He held on to his mother in this way with all of his might. How powerful is Krishna? He is Sarva Shaktiman. He is the possessor of all power, of all potency. And he is holding on to Mother Yashoda with all of his might. Now, this is one of the qualities of the six opulences. All strength is there. All strength. With all of his might and strength, he is holding on. Putana, who had the strength of 10,000 elephants, could not free herself from his grip. But in the presence of Mother Yashoda's Vatsalya Prem, that means parental love and affection, Sri Krishna, the possessor of all potency, could not stop her from putting him down. So what is more powerful than Krishna? Prem, love, pure love. Srila Gurudev said in Vrindavan, Krishna is not in control, Radhika is not in control. What is in control? Prem is in control. Prem, divine love, is controlling everything in Vrindavan. So that is what can control Krishna. There's a beautiful booklet by our Srila Gurudev, and the title is To Be Controlled by Love. And it's just all of these pastimes, how Krishna is controlled by the love of the Brajavasis in all different rasas. Krishna himself is controlled by that love and affection, the Supreme Lord of everything. That's why the greatest sages who have Aishvarya Gyan, knowledge of the power, the potency, the awesomeness of God, they understand He is Purnam Brahma Sanatana, the supreme, eternal, absolute truth. Himself, they understand it, but they're still shocked. They're mesmerized. Their mouths are open, their eyes are open, and they're completely stunned because He's playing just like an ordinary child in the courtyard of Nanda Baba. Aho bhagyam, aho bhagyam. How fortunate, how amazing, how fortunate are the Brajavasis. Nanda Gopa Vrajokasam, Yan Mitram Paramanandam Purna Brahma Sanatana. Completely shocked that his friends are defeating him in a wrestling match, that he's carrying the shoes of Nanda Baba on his head, that Mother Yashoda is chasing him with a stick and running faster than him and catching him and tying him up. That Srimati Radhika is turning and walking the other way, and he's chasing after her, begging and weeping for her mercy and praying, Smaragarakandanam Mamashirashimandanam Dehi Parapalabumadaram. Please be merciful to me. I'm placing my feet, my flute at your feet, my turban, my peacock feather at your feet, and I'm begging you, please give your foot dust upon my head. And they're just completely astonished to see how in Vrindavan, love makes Bhagavan, the supreme absolute truth, completely subservient to his devotees. So in the presence of Mother Yashoda's Vatsalya Prem, Krishna, the possessor of all potency, could not stop her from putting him down. How did she do it? With one hand. No, with all of his might, he's holding on, here and with his legs. And with one hand, so easily, she took Krishna, easily pushed him from her breast. Then she removed him from her lap and sat him down nearby and went to save the milk. Imagine being Bhagavan. He's the Supreme Lord of everything. And he doesn't want to leave this situation. But one hand, so easily she was able to put him down and go and rescue the milk. So he became quite frustrated. The Siddhanta, perfect philosophical conclusion behind this incident, is that Mother Yashoda's love for Sri Krishna is much greater than his love for her. Does anyone know why the love of the Brajavasis is considered much greater than Krishna's love for them? There is a term. There's a term known as Eka Nishta. The Brajavasis' love for and affection for Krishna, especially the gopis, especially Srimati Radhika's, is known as Eka Nishta, one-pointed focus. It's only for Krishna, not for anyone else. But Krishna's nature is quite the opposite. His nature is Bahunishta, means he's not one-pointed or single-pointed. As our Srila Gurudev said, Sudevi quoted him recently, he cannot neglect even one jiva. So there is something about this one-pointed or exclusive bhakti or prem that is so powerful that it captures or controls Krishna because of its single-pointed nature. Our Gurudev always said one-pointed bhakti, one-pointed, exclusive, focused. This is necessary if we want to enter into the bhav, the moods of the Brajabasis, so much so that our love will even be able to control Krishna himself. So Krishna's nature, he is giving love and affection to everyone. He's reciprocating with everyone, and he cannot neglect even one jiva. But that ekanishta, one-pointed love and affection is so powerful, it completely captures and subjugates Krishna. So Mother Yashoda, the Siddhanta states that her love is much greater than his love for her. Indeed, Krishna comes under the control of her love. In the presence of this motherly love imbued with deep possessiveness. The Sanskrit word for that deep possessiveness is mamata, or madhya bhav. He is mine. So it is motherly love imbued with deep possessiveness. In the presence of that, all of Bhagavan's unlimited, majestic potencies are defeated. Here, another point is to be considered. Although the superlative manifestation of Sri Krishna's unlimited opulence is found only in Braj, this means Aishwarya. The superlative manifestation is found only in Braj. As our Srila Gurudev said, there is more Aishwarya in a single particle of dust of Braj, of Vrindavan, than in all of the Vaikuntha planets combined. That's a mind-boggling idea. More Aishwarya, it means transcendental opulence, in a single particle of dust of Braj than in all of the Vaikuntha planets combined. And take it a step further, there is more Aishwarya in a single particle of dust at Radhakund, at the base of Giriraj, than in all of the rest of Vrindavan combined. That's also unfathomable. So here, Srila Gurudev is saying, although the superlative manifestation of Krishna's unlimited opulence is found only in Braj, it remains submerged in the fathomless ocean of sweetness contained within the Braja pastimes. So although there is so much Aishwarya, because the love and affection is so overwhelmingly great, the madhuryata, the sweetness of Braj, it is said that all of that Aishwarya is completely submerged. And the example our Guru Varga gives us is of one straw, one dry straw in a pot of 40 manas of milk. I'm going to make manas a gallon, but it can be 40 million gallons. Anyhow, one straw in that 40 gallons of milk, which is boiling. That one straw is compared to all of that Aishwarya. And that milk is compared to the sweetness. So that straw is completely submerged. And only every once in a while, through the boiling process, it comes to the top, peeks its little head out, hello, and then poof, back again, completely submerged. So you see that this Aishwarya manifests when Krishna lifts Govardhan Hill, when he kills Putana, Trinavarta, Bakasur, Aghasur, when he's doing so many of these pastimes, you see this Aishwarya manifest itself, and the Brajabasis go, wow, and then poof, completely submerged. They cannot maintain this astonishment in Aishwarya Bhav, this mood of Krishna's opulence. For one moment they see it, and then immediately they forget it. All they know is that Krishna is their dear most beloved. They do not know that he is God or even a demigod or whatever he may be. All they know is that they love him and that he loves them. I'm paraphrasing our Srila Prabhupada's words from his first purport of Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. He said he may be whatever he is, but it does not matter to them. All they know is they love him. So, that Aishwarya, which is the most present within Braj, remains submerged in the fathomless ocean of sweetness contained within the Braj pastimes. So sometimes also our acharyas compare it to one particle of dust in the ocean of nectar. So that even puts it into more perspective. It's completely drowned in that ocean of nectar. That is to say, even when Sri Krishna's infinite opulence is fully revealed, it easily fits within the all-accommodating embrace of Braja's sweetness. If he is showing all of his past, his Aishwarya, his full majesty,